Today I wanted to show you a cool physics simulation engine that is totally free. Now there are some other slick ones out there that cost a little bit. Maybe I'll talk about those at some point. But right now I want to talk about PHUN, P-H-U-N. And to find PHUN, you have to go to funland.com/wiki/home. Again, that's www.phunland.com/wiki, W-I-K-I/home. Anyway, once you get it, it's really kind of neat. It's multi-platform, so it's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Although I've only ever used it on Windows and Mac, but it works the same. This is the basic interface. So you have an options menu. If you don't see the options menu, it's because this is not there. See? You can turn on gravity. You can turn on air resistance. You can deal with water and clouds and anything, all sorts of other stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the options menu so we can see a little better. Here are your tools. So let's say I wanted to create an object. I just click circle. There's my object. I hit play. Ah, it falls. I can undo my start. Not a problem. Let's say I wanted to do something a little bit more complex, like say a pendulum. I can create a box, and then I can hinge it. Now when I hit start, by default it'll hinge to the background. Undo sim start. Let's do another box. If I overlap, if I overlap two boxes, for example, and then I hinge, it should hinge the two to each other. Occasionally you hinge one of the objects to the background and you have to undo it. There we go. Now we have our classic double pendulum. But we're kind of getting lost behind our menu there, so let's see what we can do. If I right click, I pull this up, and I can actually, now if I left click on this compass rose sort of looking thing, I can drag it around. Whee, and it's just dragging the view around. Or if I left click on this one, I can zoom in and out. Now you'll notice the pink pendulum went right on through the initial pendulum. We can actually change the behavior of the objects by right-clicking on an object. Now, and you get all the options. You can set its density and weight. I'm going to make the top pendulum heavier than the bottom pendulum. Why? I don't know. Just playing. You can set the collision menu. So right now, the top pendulum is in collision group A, which means it will only collide with other items in group A. The bottom pendulum is also in, it should collide. I don't know why it didn't. Well, let's make sure it doesn't collide. So it won't collide with group A, it'll collide with group B. And then we hit play, and you can see changing the mass of the top one, changed the amount of energy it had, so it got that second pendulum swinging around crazy more quickly. Anyway, other things you can do. Let's clear our scene. I'm going to add some ground in. That's the plane. And I just click and I start dragging, and you can see I'm going to rotate it. I got to be careful because I want to make it as level as possible. I think that's level. And again, I can right click and I can drag it up or down. I'm dragging the whole scene, so I'm not dragging the ground here, which is why I'm dragging in the opposite direction I want. So I just want the ground at the bottom. And then I draw a box. And I want the box on the ground, so I'm going to hit play to let it fall, and then I'll hit pause, and now it's sitting nice and level on the ground. No weirdness. And then I'm going to do some momentum. So let's right click on that and clone it so I have an exact duplicate. I'm going to put that over here. I'm going to let it fall to the ground. I'm going to hit pause. Now I've got the drag function. Now the drag function is kind of weird because while paused, if I drag an object, nothing happens. While playing, if I drag an object, I'm applying a force to it. So let's go back to where we started. Undo sim start. Now, so if I drag this along, oh, it fell. Okay, we'll drag it from lower. Hello. Oh, unpause. I gotta play. Oh, it's stopping. I know what we need to do. We need to get rid of its friction. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this object, and I'm going to make my object frictionless, and then I'm going to clone it. So now I've got two frictionless identical objects. Oh, now, again, while you're here, if I want to move that object, I can't. So I need to just select one of my other tools so that when I click on an object, I can move it. And now when I drag it, hey, wait a minute, how come this one didn't stop after it hit? Oh, I know why. Let's go ahead and get rid of that object. We need to look at its elasticity. Let's make it totally elastic. Clone it. Oh. Set that over there. Let it fall. Okay. Now I'm going to drag it, and this time, there we go. We can change the, let's undo our sim start. Okay, let's drag, play, drag, drag, and they can trade momentums. Really cool. We can change our bounciness all the way down to 0. Now this doesn't work very well. I mean, they still, they don't go to totally inelastic. So you'll see what I'm talking about here. Is it hits, and they should perfectly stick together, but they don't. Now, this is going to be a great conceptual tool, so you can run through some concepts very quickly. You could say, I don't know, turn off gravity, and you could do pool ball physics. Let's clone our ball here, clone. You'll see now when I hit play, nothing happens until I use my drag tool. You could do pool ball physics, and you could do two-dimensional collisions. You could do multiple objects, so we could do split these two balls apart. And again, now, if you want to really get any data from this, what you're going to need to do is capture a video like I'm doing now, import it into whatever motion analysis program you're using, and then you can do all of the physics you want on them. Because if you right-click, you can get information about them, so you can get their mass after the collision. Let's see, what do we get here? If I pause it now and I get the information of this moving object, so you can get its velocity of the moving objects after the collision. Simply right-click on them. So you can pull some data off. You can get the angular velocity. There's lots of neat things you can do. You can't put an accelerating force on them. You can't put a known velocity on them to start with. That's all just kind of click and drag. So you're a little limited, but if you want to conceptually show a lot of stuff up on the screen or give your students something fun to play with, which is physics, this is not bad, and it's free.